Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Today's lesson slash segment is entitled, Blow the Trumpet. It's time for war. Once again, today's lesson is entitled, Blow the Trumpet. It's time for war. This is lesson number 200. Been doing this for quite some time. There have been 200 lessons on the channel. And this lesson here is important because we're to remember how we're to conduct ourselves in a time of war. We're seeing clearly that there are many wars and rumors of wars throughout the earth. We're seeing the wholesale killing of individuals on TV. And some of these nations are trying to play both the peacemaker as well as the instigator, want to act as though they are seeking after peace while giving the weapons of war, while manufacturing the weapons of war and blowing the flames of war. So we're seeing the duplicitous behavior of these nations who claim to want to seek peace but refuse to vote for a ceasefire, want to seek peace while manufacturing, aiding and abetting in the war effort. The hypocrisy of the nations are being exposed. So we're going to take a look at the blowing of the trumpets that the man and the woman of Israel that's housed within these many nations, and trouble will soon befall them, that we are aware of exactly where our strength is and where we are to turn in the time of trouble as these nations find themselves bogged down in war and trouble befalls them. Once again, peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Brace yourselves, tighten up your jaws. Do not turn to the left or to the right, or you will get hit in the mouth. We are to walk the straight and narrow way of the Most High's commandments. We're not to deviate to the right hand or to the left. We are to walk the straight and narrow way. All right, we'll start off turning to Amos. We'll go to Amos chapter 3. Amos chapter 3, and we'll read verse 6. And verse 6 of Amos chapter 3 reads, Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? The trumpet is the sound that notifies you of trouble, a time of war. Shall there be evil in the city, and Yah hath not done it? So the question is, should there be evil in any city and it not be the Most High's doing? This is to reiterate to those of the children of Israel, once they see, as we see the problems befalling the Palestinians, the problems befalling the Ukrainians and whomever else, as well as the problems that we're seeing in the Congo and elsewhere. What we're seeing is judgment being doled out upon peoples of the earth. And this judgment is being doled out, compliments of the Most High and none other. There's no evil, there's no Satan that's bringing evil to anyone. It's the Most High blessing you, and it's the Most High busting your head every time you decide to turn to the left or to the right and walk out of the way. So all of these judgments are being brought to us, courtesy of the Most High. Let's turn to Isaiah 45, verse 7. Isaiah 45, 7. Isaiah 45, verse 7 reads, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, Yah, do all these things. Once again, it is the Most High that's blessing you, and it's the Most High that's putting curses upon your head and is troubling you or your house. You're to turn to no one else when you seek relief. You're to turn to the Most High when you're having problems. When these things befall you, even befall you or your house, you're to turn to the Most High because He is the one that's bringing it upon you. When you are being blessed, you're to turn to the Most High and thank Him for it, for it is Him who is doing that also. So we must understand that the Most High is doing all of these things, whether it be a blessing that's been poured out onto you or affliction that's being poured upon your head. We are to remember all of these things. That way we know exactly where to look and to whom we are to seek when we find ourselves in a time of trouble, as we will see come upon these nations who have walked outside of the Most High's laws from start to finish. Let's move down to Isaiah chapter, we're still in chapter 45. We'll move down to verse 22. And verse 22 reads, we'll read verse 22 and verse 23. Verse 22 reads, look unto me, that is singular, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth, for I am Yah, and there is none else. There is no JC or anyone else. The Most High is one. Like I have stated in the last video, if you have come to the understanding that you are of the house of Israel, then you are to turn to the God of Israel. Therefore, he is one, and that's whom you should serve, and that's whom you should place your trust in. Verse 23, I have sworn by myself, singular. The word is gone out of my mouth in righteousness, and shall not return, that unto me every knee shall bow, me, once again, singular. Every tongue shall swear. Now, this very scroll right here, if you let the Christians tell it, they're telling you this is JC said this. This has been plagiarized from our records. So do understand, if you are an Israelite, you are to serve the God of Israel. And he made it plain that the word has gone out of his mouth in righteousness, and unto him and him alone shall every knee bow and every tongue swear, not to anyone else. And we are to remember that. Let's turn to Isaiah, one chapter over, Isaiah chapter 46, and we will read verse 3 through 13. For we are in the daughter of Babylon, and this nation is full of its prognosticators, its idolaters, and adulterers, and they are hypocritical in all of their ways. And the word and the verdict for this nation and those who have followed it is their destruction. Now, Isaiah chapter 46, verse 3, and it reads, hearken unto me, O house of Jacob. Does not say hearken unto me, everybody. When the Most High speaks, he's speaking to a specific family. And all the remnant of the house of Israel, which are born by me from the belly, which are carried from the womb. And even to your old age, I am he, singular. And even to hoary hairs will I carry you. I have made, and I will bear. Even I will carry and will deliver you. The Most High is saying he and he alone will carry us. From the days of our youth to the days of our old age, it is him who will carry us, and it is him who will deliver us. And somehow our enemies have told us otherwise, and we have believed them. Verse 5, to whom will you liken me and make me equal and compare me, that we may be like? So the Most High is making it plain that no one is to be compared to him. And he's asking the house of Israel, who will you compare me to? We have made an error of comparing the Most High to JC. We have made the error of saying that JC and the Most High is one, and that the Most High is a Trinity, etc. He is making it plain here that we are not to compare him or to liken him to anyone, and to make anyone equal unto him. We are to compare him to no one, for he is like none other. Verse 6, they lavish gold out of the bag, and weigh silver in the balance, and hire a goldsmith, and he maketh it a god, lowercase, an idol. They shall fall down, yea, they worship, or they fall down, yea, they worship. So we have made all of these images, these accursed things of gold, silver, wood, ivory, etc., this JC character, and we have fell down before this thing, cried out unto this thing, wear this thing upon our necks, have it in our houses, printed upon our skin. It is an accursed thing. They bear him upon the shoulder. They carry him and set him in his place, and he standeth. For his place shall he not remove. From his place shall he not remove. Yea, One shall cry unto him, yet can he not answer, nor save him out of his trouble. So they have built these big, tall statues, these JC statues. Like I've said, some of you have it in your cars, have it in your houses, have it in the idolatrous church house that you go to. They take this statue and put it into place. And once it is placed there, it moves not. Has mouth, but speak not. It has ears, but it hears not. Has hands, but it handles nothing. And we cry out onto this thing. Once it is placed in its place, it cannot be moved, for its legs does not work. And you cry out onto this thing, but this thing cannot answer you, for though it has ears, it cannot hear. It is an idol. And you seek for this accursed thing to deliver you out of your trouble. And it has not, it will not, and it will never deliver you out of your trouble. Verse 8, remember this and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. So all of you of the house of Israel, we have transgressed the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. And I am reading this word within your ears that you may understand where our errors have been in times past and where we are continuing to err to this day. We are to remember our mistakes from the days of old. This is why this document, this text, these scrolls are referred to as the book of remembrance, that we may remember in times past where we have erred. Remember the former things of old, for I am Yah, and there is none else. I am Yah, and there is none like me. This is once again, the Most High is speaking to the children of Israel. We read at verse 3. It said clearly when we began verse 3, hearken unto me, not us, O house of Jacob. So he's speaking to a specific group of people, a specific family related via genetics. And we are to remember the former things of old, that he is one, there's none like him, and there's none to be compared unto him. Verse 10, declaring the end from the beginning. The Most High is up front with his people. There is no aha moment, no I got you moment. Everything is made plain before his people. And from ancient times is things that are not yet done. In other words, all of the prophecies were brought forth through his people, through these people of Israel that he has chosen. It comes through no one else. Once again, declaring the end from the beginning, he is up front. And from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. So we're at the moment, as we're seeing these wars take place in these many nations, what we're going to see is whose words will stand. Will the words of the Christians stand? Or will the words of the God of Israel, will that stand? Will the words of the Muslims stand? So we're going to see clearly, will the words of the Hindus stand? So this is a proving ground as the Most High gets ready to reveal himself to his people. And that will be done on such a grand scale that everyone else that's walking upon the face of the earth will see, know, hear, and fear him. Verse 11, calling a ravenous bird from the east, the man that executed my counsel from a far country. Yea, I have spoken it. I will also bring it to pass. I have proposed it. I will also do it. And this specifically addresses Cyrus. Verse 12, hearken unto me, ye stout-hearted, in other words, the rebels, that are far from righteousness, those of us who are walking in wickedness. Some of us are walking in wickedness unbeknownst to us, and some of us have been clearly taught what is right and what is wrong, what is wicked and what is righteous, and have yet decided to walk the path of righteousness. That will surely bring about one's destruction. Verse 13, I will bring my righteousness, that is his law. It shall not be far off. It is not. It is right there by your bedstand. It's in that book that you have in your house that you have never read, the book of remembrance. Once again, I will bring near my righteousness. It shall not be far off, and my salvation shall not tarry. It will not wait. And I will place salvation in Zion for Israel, my glory. Who is Israel? His people. Salvation will be placed in Zion for his people Israel, for their glory. So we're to certainly be joyful of the things that is to come as it pertains to our deliverance from the hands of our enemies. And these nations that we are in, these people are our enemies. Now we will turn to one chapter from Isaiah chapter 46. We'll go to Isaiah chapter 47, and we will read the entire chapter as it pertains to the daughter of Babylon and the judgments thereof. For this nation is one that has all the characteristics of old Babylon. Old Babylon was destroyed, but is still there. Iraq still exists today, and there are people there living there. This chapter 47 speaks against the daughter of Babylon, a nation that has all the characteristics of the old Babylon as far as its wickedness goes, as far as its hypocrisy goes, as far as its willingness to actually aid and abet and encourage wickedness throughout the earth and rewards wickedness within the earth. Chapter 47 of Isaiah reads, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate." Everyone thinks of America as a tender and delicate nation, the land of milk and honey, etc., etc. Verse 2, "Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, all of your wickedness. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man." Can't possibly meet you as a man, because he's not a man. The Most High is not a man. Though our enemies would have us think that he is a man and came here as a man in the form of man and a whole other manner of madness. When you allow people to tell you about God who does not know God and have never been given any of his commandments, nor have they ever walked in it. Verse 4, "As for our Redeemer, Yah of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel," not the Holy Two of Israel, not the Holy Trinity of Israel. Verse 5, "Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms." Shall no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. You see Lady Liberty when you come into the New York Harbor. And this nation is known for its, i.e., freedoms, etc., etc., as it is being told or presented to the peoples of the earth as a land of milk and honey and a place of freedom, etc., etc., i.e., Lady Liberty is one of the idols of this nation, if you will. Verse 6, "I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand." So the Most High is stating that he was upset with the children of Israel, and he polluted his inheritance because we are the inheritance of the Most High. We are his sons and daughters, and the sons and daughters inherit that of their father. So we are his inheritance. His land is the land mass of Israel, and we will inherit the land of our father. Our father is the creator of Israel, the God of the entire earth. Once again, "I was wroth with my people," who is Israel. "I have polluted my inheritance and given them into thine hand, into the hand of the daughter of Babylon. Thou didst show them no mercy." We're not shown any mercy in this nation and others. "Upon the ancient," we are the ancient peoples, "have thou heavily laid thy yoke." So in other words, this nation and those who are in cahoots with it, all the other European Christian nations, they have laid a heavy yoke upon the ancient people, upon the children of Israel, upon the Most High's elect, upon the Most High's chosen. They have made it extremely difficult for us in all the nations where they rule. We are at the bottom. We're spat upon. We're mocked. We are disenfranchised. We are dealt with in an unrighteous manner. But we should not be surprised by this, for we are in the lands of our enemies, and our enemies know not righteousness, so they cannot deal with us in any other way but an unrighteous way, for they do not know what righteousness is. Verse 7, and thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to heart, neither did thou remember the latter end of it. So this nation is saying in his heart that I'm going to be at the top of these nations forever. No wars are going to come upon me. I will forever rule, and I shall forever lead these nations. What they did not remember is the latter end of this nation, and the latter end of a wicked man and his wicked ways is his destruction. Verse 8, therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwell carelessly, that saith in thine heart, I am, and none else besides me. This is what's known as arrogance and pomp. And this nation is full of that. Arrogance and pomp. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. So this place will aid in the bed of the nations with their bombs and with their weapons of war, that other people, quote unquote, their allies whom they bribe in order to where they can share their weapons and keep this weapons manufacturing going that others may profit. They have made plain that they will not sit as a widow. They will not be as that woman who has lost their children in times of war, unjust war. Neither shall I know the loss of children. So this nation is stating that she won't lose her children. She will never experience widowhood, as she has caused widowhood in many nations by means of its deception and by means of the sales of its weapons of war, sowing the seed of discontent and discord. But these two things shall come upon thee in a moment, in one day. So what this nation has felt that will never come upon it shall come upon it in one day. The loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thy enchantments. In other words, this place is operating on everything but godliness. It's operating on everything but righteousness. It does everything, but it does not walk in the confines of the Most High's law and has no commitment to the covenant. They are not covenant keepers. So the Most High is stating that this place will be that all of these things, both widowhood and loss of children, shall come upon it in one day, for all the wickedness of this place, its leaders and its people. So what we are to do as the children of Israel, we are to begin to separate ourselves, that when the Most High hands out this judgment upon this nation and others who are in cahoots with it, that we may be shielded, because we are walking within the confines of his law, and that is the sanctuary by which he has extended his mercy unto us, is to walk in that covenant. Verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. They have trusted in their lies, trusted in their bribery, trusted in their idols, trusted in their money, and for sure have placed every last bit of their trust in their weaponry. Thou hast said, none seeth me. In other words, as America is destabilizing nations, killing its leaders, killing its people, ciphering off the people's ability to sustain themselves, i.e. sanctions, etc., as it continues to do all manner of wickedness, aiding and abetting the murdering of people, it's saying to itself, no one is seeing me doing this. God can't see this. No one knows these underhanded moves and these backdoor deals that I'm making. So it's saying that no one is seeing them, right? Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else besides me. In other words, if I can't have it, can't nobody else have it. It's all about me. it is a selfish nation. Its knowledge, its wisdom, and its understanding, its knowledge and wisdom has perverted it. What does that mean? We know the Most High gives knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that was given to this nation, it has perverted the peoples of this nation. How so? They will take any bit of knowledge that they have been given, any bit of wisdom that they have been given, and it has been used for destructive purposes, i.e. war, i.e. killing, i.e. flaming the fans of war and causing discord in the midst of many nations of the earth. So all of their knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, instead of it being used for righteousness, it has been used for wickedness and evil. And thus their knowledge has perverted them. Verse 11, therefore shall evil come upon thee. Why? Evil shall come upon thee because that is what you have sown. Once again, therefore evil shall come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. In other words, you're going to have problems coming from everywhere. You're not going to know how did this problem arise. And as you seek to find an answer for this problem, 5 more will pop up. In other words, you will be overwhelmed because you have overwhelmed the people of the earth and you have wearied them with your unrighteousness. So as America is going to be bogged down in the Middle East, bogged down in the South China Sea, bogged down in Ukraine and everywhere else, the Most High is going to cause the men of war and all of these nations to fight. And they will have problems both externally and internally. And they will not have any answers for it. And it will be so drastic, it will be so much in your face that they will know clearly that this is by no means an accident, that these things are being brought upon them courtesy of the Most High. They will know it, and so will the children of Israel know it as we see these calamities come upon them. Why? Because we are able to go into these scrolls that we may be able to read them before the ears of the children of Israel. That way you may know exactly what is to come. And that way, when these things start to happen, these nations will be able to say, well, this wise and understanding people, the children of Israel, has told us these things were to come, and here they are happening. And this is one way of validating who we are, and certainly who our God is, and that his word will stand and none other. Verse 12, stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit. If so be thou shalt be able to profit. If so be thou mayest prevail. In other words, take all of these sorceries that you have. Take all of these idols that you have. Take of all of these false, fake, and belief systems that you have. That these things have been part of your development from the days of your youth, from the time the nation was founded. It was founded upon enchantments. It was founded upon sorceries. It was founded upon murder and bloodshed and lies and all manner of unrighteousness. Turn to that and see if it's going to deliver you. That's what pretty much this is saying. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let not the astrologers and let now the astrologers and the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators, stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Go ahead and call on JC. I've told you in times past that all of these nations that has afflicted us, and I'm speaking, we're not talking about the Muslims just yet. We're speaking about the Christians because we're in the Christian nations here in the West. They have given us their JC. When the Most High does what I'm reading to you, to these nations, to America and the rest of them that has walked in her footsteps, they will have an opportunity to call upon JC. They will have an opportunity to call upon their astrologers, their stargazers, and their monthly prognosticators to see if they will deliver them. In the house of Israel, we're going to be bearing witness to all of this. And we will see clearly that none shall deliver out of the Most High's hand. And it will be made plain unto us why we have been turned into the idols of these nations. It has never worked for us. And we're going to see clearly that it will not work for them either. And at that point, we're going to have to decide clearly whom we shall serve if we have not made that decision as of yet. But it will be certainly made plain to us, or made plain to us exactly what's real and what's not. Verse 14. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them up. Their destruction. They shall not deliver themselves. All these JCers, they would be given a chance to see if JC works for them and see if he will deliver them. We have been screaming to this idol for centuries and have come up snake eyes and will continue to come up snake eyes. So will they, our enemies, in their time of trouble. Once again, verse 14 reads, Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. They shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before. Can you imagine that type of destruction? There's no fire by which to sit to get warm, and there's no coals to burn. And we do not want to be on the wrong side of that judgment. So we are to make our decisions now on where we will stand, where we will place our trust. Verse 15. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored. Even thy merchants from thy youth, they shall wander every one to his quarter. None shall save thee. All the merchants, all the major companies, we have seen a big shift of major manufacturing and major companies. They are moved to Asia and everywhere else. The companies are pulling out, for they're seeing the fall and the destruction of this place. So all of the merchants, the major companies, they're going to all go their own way. They're going to return back to their own place. They're going to pull out of this place as they see it begin to fall. So we are to be aware of this falling that's taking place. Some of us are seeing this. Some of us are not. Either way, both the believer and the non-believer will have to bear witness to it. However, the purpose of the children of Israel, especially the men of Israel in whose heart is the Most High's law, our purpose is to stand up and read this law before the ears of the people, that they may be warned of the things that are to come. All right, let's turn to Genesis chapter 14. Genesis chapter 14. That way we understand clearly, come time to scrap, when it's time to fight, there's no plan. And when it comes to combat, I don't care if it's fighting with a rock, fighting with a stick, with a sword, or anything else. The men of Israel, we are the best combatants the earth has ever seen. And we are the best combatants the earth will ever see. Let's go with Genesis chapter 14. Genesis chapter 14, and we will start off at verse 12. We will read verse 12 through 14, that we understand clearly this going to back and beg our enemies and going to back and hug them and talking about we forgive you and making covenants with them that's harmful to our people as a whole. These are unacceptable behaviors. Once again, verse 14, dealing with a time of war and how we conducted ourselves and how we banded together as one man when we faced off against our enemies. Genesis chapter 14, verse 12 reads, And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son. They took Abraham's, before his name was changed to Abraham, they took his nephew who dwelt in Sodom and his goods and departed. So these kings came through, beat up on Sodom and Gomorrah, okay? And they went ahead and took Lot, because Lot lived in Sodom. So they pretty much kidnapped him, took him away, took all his goods. And this word got back to Abraham. Now, what what he did not do, he didn't go and meet up with him and begged to get his nephew back. He didn't do that. It was a time of war. And we will read this. They came, kidnapped his nephew, and took all his goods. And Abraham said, okay, is that to get down? Okay. Got all of his men, got weapons of war, and went to go get his nephew. And upon doing that, everyone else in the surrounding area knew good and well, hey, don't touch any of those people. Because if you touch one of them, they're all coming to see you. This is how we moved back in the days of old. Nowadays, you have 3 people beating down 1 Israelite and 50 Israelites standing back with their phones, watching. And as we put on this breastplate of righteousness and this helmet of salvation, all of a sudden the cowardice will be removed from our hearts. And when you decide you want to jump on 1 Israelite, 50 of us are not going to stand back with our phones. There'll be 50 of us stomping on you. And that's how we got down in the days of old. And as this spirit of cowardice is removed from us, as we turn to the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts, we're going to stop begging our enemies for anything. And we will deal with them as they have dealt with us. All right. Once again, dealing with Lot. Verse 12 once again. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, whom dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and they departed. And there came one that had escaped, and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, the brother of Eshcol, and the brother of Aner. And these were confederate with Abram. So they took Lot, and one of the men that was taken escaped, and came and told Abram, said, Abram, look, they snatched up your nephew, took him, and took all his goods. And right then, Abram knew exactly how he was going to handle that. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. So what he didn't do, he didn't start crying, he didn't start begging, didn't try to go contact them to make no deals. Got his nephew. They were trained men in his house. Most of our men nowadays can't fight. That's why they're quick to shoot you. And he gathered the men that were trained in his house, and he went to get his nephew. Excuse me. And he divided himself against them, he and his servants, by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought back again his nephew, his brother Lot. Once again. So verse 16 reads, and he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot, who is actually his nephew, and his goods, and the women also, and the people. So they took Lot's goods, took some women, and took some people. And Abram was not going for it. I'm certain that he petitioned to the Most High, that the Most High may go before him, that campaign, that military campaign would be successful. And it was. For he was able to deliver his nephew, to return him back home with his goods, and the women that were taken, and the people that were taken also. So in a time of war, we galvanized as one people, and we all understood the all for one and the one for all concept. You hurt my brother, then we got to deal with you, period. And we're all going to deal with you. But just as we would deal with the stranger, we have to become of the habit to where when one of us, in the midst of us, harm one of us in an unrighteous manner, we're to get him too. This is not just done to strangers. This is done in the house of Israel also, to ensure that evil and wickedness is stamped out in the midst of us. So we saw clearly here where Abram went and got his nephew in a time of war, and the men saddled up with him and took care of business. Right now, the war is in the midst of us. We need to awaken the warrior class, that our men may understand that this is a time of war. This is not a time to cry. This is not a time to shout. It is a time of war, and we must be prepared for it. Now, let's turn to Deuteronomy chapter 20, and we'll read verse 8. Deuteronomy chapter 20, and we will read verse 8. And verse 8 reads, "And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, What man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart faint, as well as his heart." So in the midst of us, in the midst of the men of Israel scattered to the four corners of the earth, as it has been in the times past, there are many men in the midst of us that are just flat out cowards. I grew up with some men that were cowards from the days of our youth. Now many of them are grown men with a wife and children. There are just grown men who are also cowards like they were in the days of their youth. A spirit of cowardice has always been upon them. So we have many men in the midst of us who won't bust a grape, who are flat out cowards, fearful and faint-hearted. However, by putting on the breastplate of righteousness and the helmet of salvation, that spirit of cowardice will be removed. Remember, when you read Deuteronomy chapter 28, the Most High put a spirit of fear upon us. We're terrified. Many of us may talk really loud, but in the bottom and the end of all of that is cowardice, is a man who is faint-hearted and scared, but he may speak loud and brave as if he is not, in order to fool somebody. But we must understand that when we were placed in these nations, we were not given a spirit and a heart of bravery. We were given a spirit and a heart of fear. We are to remember that. That way we may turn to the Most High, that he may strengthen us, that this spirit of cowardice, that it may be removed. Okay, so we are now awakening the warrior class. Of course, we're going to need one. As you look at the situation in Gaza, if you look at Gaza right now, I want to say they may have been fighting now maybe 150, 160 days, something like that. If you go back 180 days before what we're seeing right now, those people that are there could not possibly imagine what's taking place right now, what they're seeing before their very eyes. Like I said, this war has been going on for roughly 150, maybe 160 days. Go back 200 days ago, when the people in Gaza were living their life, though they were living it under occupation, they could not begin to fathom what they're seeing and experiencing and living right now. What I'm trying to say to those of you in the diaspora is this. The very life that we're living right now I'm sitting at my home. I'm at peace on the Sabbath day. I want you all to understand that the lifestyle that you're living now and the things that you're accustomed to right now may not be so in 10 days, may not be so 30 days from now, may not be so 150 days from now. That's how quickly things can change. And when the Most High decides to bring his judgment, it's swift, it's brutal. That's him bringing evil. So that which these nations cannot begin to fathom, these are the exact things that's going to be brought upon them. Their fears will be returned upon their heads. Their ways will be returned upon their heads. And if you know you're sitting in these nations and you understand clearly what is to befall them, and you are in the midst of them, you are to take the precaution of protecting yourself by hiding within the sanctuary of the covenant. So this is a reminder to you as it pertains to that. All right, let's move to Deuteronomy chapter 1. Move all the way back to chapter 1. Deuteronomy chapter 1, and we will read verse 42, 43, 44, and 45. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 1, and we'll start with verse 42. And verse 42 reads, And Yah said unto me, say unto them, Go not up, neither fight, for I am not among you, lest ye be smitten before your enemies. So the Most High is letting some of the children of Israel know that, hey, look, don't go up. Tell them don't go up because I'm not among them. Now, if you let the Christian tell it, they'll tell you in order for God to be among man, he had to make himself into three. Thus, JC came that God could dwell in the midst of man. I have a video up on this channel that the Most High Yah has always dwelt in the midst of his people. All through the wilderness, he's right there with us the whole way through. That's why whenever we went to the restroom or did anything outside the law, we got dealt with right then. Right then. Because he's right there. So this right here is letting you know the Most High is telling the children of Israel, hey, look, tell them don't go up because I'm not with them. I'm not with them. He guided us all through the wilderness. So when we start moving and the Most High is not with us and the Most High is not before us, you can bet we're going to lose. Now, what we are to understand as it pertains to all of this is that we have to stomp out any one person that's doing any bit of evil in the midst of us. Because it only takes one of us doing some evil or doing something that's unrighteous and unlawful in the midst of us for the Most High simply to withdraw himself from us. It won't take but one. One man gets the whole nation's head busted. And that's still true to this day. It was true back then in the days of old. It is true today. If one of our people, one of the children of Israel, does something off the charts to our enemies punish us all. So as we see in Gaza, they're speaking about collective punishment with the Palestinians. The children of Israel, all we have ever known is collective punishment. Because when one of us did something wrong, we all paid. So collective punishment has been our way. That's all we have known. So now everyone is screaming collective punishment. And these are the very people that has been giving us and doling out onto us collective punishment. Once again, we're bearing witness to the hypocrisy of these nations. All right. Let's read Deuteronomy once again. Deuteronomy chapter 1. Let's go ahead and turn to verse 43. We've read 42. So I spake unto you, and ye would not hear, but rebelled against the commandment of Yah, and went presumptuously up into the hill. So they decided, you know what? If the Most High before us, we're going to go anyway. We're going to go get this thing done. And when we move and the Most High is not before us, we're going to lose. Verse 44. And the Amorites which dwelt in the mountain came out against you and chased you as bees do. If bees chase a man or a group of men, they're running. And destroyed you in Seir, even unto Hormah. Verse 45. And ye returned and wept before Yah. But Yah would not hearken to your voice, nor give ear unto you. So, children of Israel, why would or why should the Most High give ear unto your cry, unto you beckoning out unto him, when he beckoned out unto you not to go and you decided to go anyway. So the lesson here is, if you won't hear the Most High, then he will not hear you. Let me say that once again for effect. If you refuse to walk after the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts, then when you find yourself in some mess, don't call on him to get you out, because he won't hear you, because you didn't hear his instructions. So now that you're begging and crying, when you find yourself in that pit, don't expect him to come help you, because you were warned. Once again, the Most High is not off the cuff. You know clearly up front what the punishments are for a said infraction. It's not something that's hidden. It's something that's plainly stated. Hey, if you do this, I'm going to do this. That's how the Most High moves. There's no operating in secret. The Most High is up front. So you should not be surprised with what the judgments are, because that punishment was clearly laid out for that infraction. All right. And that's verse 45. So we understand clearly that when we're dealing with the Most High, when you decide to go against his word, you don't want to disobey. You can't disobey him and expect his protection too. It doesn't work that way. You are afforded his protection when you decide to walk in his counsel. It is simple as that. All right. Let's turn to Joshua, the book of Joshua. That the children of Israel may be reminded that we fight as one unit, and we are to prepare for the combat in the time that is to come, for these nations are ready for war. They're preparing for war. And we are housed within these nations, therefore we better get ready too. All right. Now Joshua, we will read chapter 12, verse 24. Chapter 12, verse 24. The king of Tirzah won all the kings 30-1. All right. Joshua was the man raised up to take the place of Moses. Joshua was raised up in the midst of his brethren, that he may lead Israel in and out. Joshua was a head buster. He was busting heads of 31 kings. That's a whole lot of fighting. But in his fighting, the Most High was before him. Another head buster in the midst of us was Governor David. David was a head buster. He was a man of war. He was raised up to subdue all the enemies of the children of Israel, that Solomon may build the first temple in peace. David was a man of war. Joshua was a man of war. The men of Israel were men of war. And when we fought and we had the Most High before us, we always won. But the minute one of us decided, you know what, man, I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to go ahead and walk outside of the way and just cause the whole congregation, i.e. the whole family, to suffer, then we got to deal with that one man. So we are to be aware that one of our actions affects the entire family. If one of your family member went and killed somebody, so to speak, in this modern time, didn't do it in self-defense, but murdered somebody, when that came across the news, your name, if you share the same last name, that last name is mentioned, people know that you're related to that person, it brings shame upon your family. So it's the same thing with the children of Israel. When one of us does something that's absolutely off the charts, I'm certain that many of you have been in an environment or in an area at one time where some Israelite decided to show his hind part in public. And while he's showing his hind part or her hind part, you were present, bearing witness to it and in close proximity. And you felt the shame and the embarrassment just because one Israelite was showing their hind part. And you being one of them, you shared and bore that embarrassment and that shame. Certainly, all for one and one for all. So, Joshua, headbuster, warrior. David, headbuster and warrior. These are men of war. And so therefore we are to raise the warrior class now. For we see the many nations are ready for war. And we're housed in these nations. Don't think for 1 second you ain't gonna do no fighting. You're gonna have to do some fighting. Get prepared for that. Let's turn to Joshua chapter 7. Joshua chapter 7. Once again, all for one and one for all. All right. Verse 7, actually verse 1 of chapter 7 of Joshua. But the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing. What is the accursed thing? Any idol, JC statue, or any other statue you've got that you worship and consider it to be some kind of a god. All right. Of the accursed thing. All right. For Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, took of the accursed thing, and the anger of Yah was kindled against the children of Israel. Once again, all for one and one for all. One man decided, you know what? I like this statue here, this little God statue, this idol statue. I'm going to take this thing. Now, before we went to go do this fighting, we were instructed not to take nothing. So everybody followed that instruction, but this one dude figured, you know what? I like that thing. Let me go ahead and grab that. And so one man is causing the whole family to pay. And that's what we got to understand. That's why when we find that one man doing anything against the commandments in the midst of us, we got to handle him. Because if we don't handle him, then wickedness and unrighteousness spreads. Covetousness. This man right here, he's guilty of covetousness. Of wanting something that you got no business wanting. Of going against the commandments that were strictly given. So he is just rebellious and disobedient and covetous. And if you allow one person among you to be like that, he is going to entice others to be that way. Thus, wickedness spreads throughout the family. So you got to deal with him. Verse 2. And Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is besides Bethaven, on the east side of Bethlehem, and spake unto them, saying, Go up and view the country. And the men went up and viewed Ai. And they returned to Joshua and said unto him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and smite Ai. And make not all the people to labor thither, for they are but few. So the men came back and said, Look, Joshua, we spotted this place. It's only about a few of them. We don't need to send everyone up here. 2,000 or 3,000 men is enough for us to subdue this place. We don't need to send up 30,000. Just 3,000 will do, because there's not many of them. Verse 4. So there went up thither of the people about 3,000 men, and they fled before the men of Ai. Okay. So Joshua said, okay. He heard their counsel, and Joshua decided he was going to just send up 3,000 men. Right? But when he sent up these 3,000 men, they lost. They got beat down and chased out. So Joshua's wondering, because we still have the Ark of the Covenant in these days. So he's wondering, how in the world did this happen? How did the children of Israel, the Most High, have guided us through all the wilderness and brought us this far? Did he bring us this far to get beat down like this? So Joshua's in a state, he's confounded a bit right here. Verse 5. And the men of Ai smote of them about 36 men. For they chased them from before the gate even unto Shebarim, and smote them in the going down. Wherefore the hearts of the people melted and became as water. Their heart became weak. They became faint-hearted because of that defeat. Verse 6. And Joshua rent his clothes, tore his clothes. That's the way of how we mourned when something bad happened back in the day. And fell to the earth upon his face before the ark of Yah until the evening tide. So he tore his clothes and fell to the earth, put his face down to the ground before the ark of Yah until the evening tide. And he and the elders of Israel and put dust upon their heads. That's a way of mourning. Sometimes, we wore sackcloth to tear one's clothes and to pour dirt upon one's head is kind of a way of how we expressed a moment of grief and sorrow. Verse 7. Joshua said, Alas, O Yah, wherefore hast thou at all brought this people over Jordan to deliver us into the hands of the Amorites, to destroy us? Would Yah be we had been content and dwelt on the other side of Jordan? O Yah, what shall I say when Israel turned their backs before their enemies? So what is he to tell the children of Israel when they turned their backs before their enemies and fled? Verse 9. For the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land shall hear of it, and shall environ us around, shall surround us, and cut off our name from the earth. And what wilt thou do unto thy great name? Environ, to pretty much to surround them. So therefore, Joshua understands clearly what the precedent would be. Just like there's a bad precedent set when, I don't care what their occupation is, security guard, cop, store owner, whatever. When we allow men of other nations or men within our own nation, Israelites, to kill one of our men, to kill one of our children, to kill one of our daughters, to kill one of our elderly, and we decide we're not going to do anything, it sets a precedent to everyone else that we can do harm to these people and there will be no judgment for it. Joshua understands clearly that the fact that Israel got beat down, these other nations going to get wind of it. And so they're going to start thinking, well, they lost to such and such, that everyone else is going to start thinking, well, maybe we can beat them too. So we are to be aware of the precedent that is set when our said actions have an adverse effect on how our people are viewed and how they are dealt with. Verse 10. And Yah said unto Joshua, Get thee up, wherefore liest thou thus upon thy face? So the Most High is telling Joshua, get up off your knees, get your face off this ground. Why are you laying here like this? All right. Verse 11. This is the Most High speaking. Israel, that's the entire family, hath sinned, and they have also transgressed my covenant, which I commanded them. For they have even taken of the accursed thing, and have also stolen, and dissembled also, and they have put it even among their own stuff. So Joshua is on his knees, head to the floor, in front of the Ark of the Covenant, and the Most High is telling him, Joshua, why are you on your face? Get up. Let me tell you what's really going on. Let me tell you why this happened. You see, Israel have sinned against me. They have transgressed my covenant. They have taken of the accursed thing. They have stolen and dissembled also, and have taken this stolen stuff and put it in the midst of their own stuff. And because they did this thing is why I caused you to get defeated when you sent those 3,000 men up there. Because there's a man among you that's moving so foul, that's not walking within my commandments, that I can't be a party to no wickedness. And since there's a wicked man in the midst of you, when you went up, I couldn't be in the midst of you because there's a wicked man in the midst of you. And I can't be in the midst of the wickedness. Hope you're getting that. All right. Verse 12. Therefore, the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies, but turned their backs before their enemies because they were accursed. Neither will I be with you anymore, except ye destroy the accursed thing from among you. So the Most High is saying, look, I can't rock with you. You got this idol with you. I can't be in the midst of that. You got this unrighteousness with you. I can't go before you and I can't go with you. You're on your own. In fact, you're going to lose. So when you run around, got your little crosses and kissing them, got it swinging off your visor, got it swinging off your neck, and you thinking somehow you got some protection, nah, it ain't working out for you. All these dudes with big crosses on their necks get all kind of bullet wounds. It don't protect them. So you run around with a cursed thing thinking that somehow that's helping you. It's causing you more problems than it's worth. Like the old saying goes, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. Go ahead and let that thing go. So the Most High is making it plain that since you've got this accursed thing in the midst of you, I can't be nowhere near you. And that's you as a family. Verse 13, up, sanctify the people and say, sanctify yourselves against tomorrow. For thus saith Yah, the strength of Israel. There is an accursed thing in the midst of thee. O Israel, thou canst not stand, or you can't stand before your enemies until ye take away the accursed thing from among you. So you can't stand before your enemies in these nations. You got this JC cross around your neck and swinging in your house and in your car. Can't stand before your enemies. Period. What this thing is an accursed thing. Is also commonly referred to as a stumbling block. It's the thing that's causing you to fall on your face. All right. Verse 14. In the morning, therefore, ye shall be brought according to your tribes, In the morning, therefore, ye shall be brought according to your tribes. And it shall be that the tribe which Yah taketh shall come according to the families thereof. And the family which Yah shall take shall come by households. And the household which Yah shall take shall come man by man. So the Most High is like, you know what? Bring them all before me in the morning. Bring them before me by their families. And for each family, we're going to go man by man. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty. It's what it's coming down to. We're going to find out exactly who is transgressing. And the Most High knows exactly who it is. All right. So they're going to go man by man. Verse 15. And it shall be that he that is taken with the accursed thing shall be burnt with fire, he and all that he has, because he has transgressed the covenant of Yah, and because he hath wrought folly in Israel. So therefore, when all the families are brought before the Most High, they bring the tribes first, and within the tribes, their families within that one tribe. And then you're going to have them bring them family by family. Then you're going to have them bring them man by man. And the man that is found to be the one that has caused the infraction, the one that has caused the whole entire family to pay, one man caused the death of 36 men. But not only did he cause the death of those 36 men, he did something even worse than that. He caused the other nations to look at Israel funny. Man, maybe we can beat them. They just lost to them over here. Maybe we can take them on. One man put the whole family, put the whole nation in danger. And when we have any man in the midst of us or a woman that's going to cause our name and our image to stink, we're to deal with them. Verse 16. So Joshua rose up early in the morning and brought Israel by their tribes. And the tribe of Judah was taken. And he brought the family of Judah. And he took the family of the Zerites. And he brought the family of the Zerites man by man. And Zabdi was taken. So Zabdi is the fella that they say, hey, come on up here. We've got to have a word with you, Mr. Zabdi. So they're going to deal with him. All right. And he brought his household man by man, and Achan, the son of Carmi, and the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, was taken. And Joshua said unto Achan, my son, give, I pray thee, to Yah the strength of Israel, and make confession unto him, and tell me now what thou hast done. Hide it not from me. Well, he can't hide nothing. Most High's there with us. Most High picked you out because he said you did it. So now we're going to give you another opportunity to see if you're going to lie or not. It's time to deal with you. Let's see how we dealt with him, because the Most High said he was to be burnt with fire. In other words, this man was to be killed for endangering the whole entire family. We have traitors in the midst of us today in many of these nations where we have been raised up. These traitors are doing all type of egregious things to cause our sons and daughters to be killed by others, and they're walking around. We're going to deal with these people. Times are changing. Righteousness is overspreading the earth. All right. Verse 20. And Achan answered Joshua and said, indeed, I have sinned against Yah's strength, or I have sinned against Yah, the strength of Israel, and thus have I done. Yeah, I went in there, we busted these people's head. They had some things that I saw, I liked it. I was covetous. I took it, put it in my tent, hid it in the ground. So he's confessing, he's about to confess to what he did. When I saw among the spoils of the goodly Babylonianish garments, so I saw these nice garments of the Babylonians, and I saw this 200 shekels of silver in a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight. Then I coveted them. Covetousness. Yeah, that's a sin. And took them, and behold, they are hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. So he's admitting that, look, I went against the Most High's commandments. We were instructed not to take anything, but my covetousness got the best of me. I decided I was going to take some of the garments. I was going to take the wedge of gold. I was going to take some silver. In other words, you're stealing. In other words, you're greedy. Sin of greed also got a hold of you, and you totally disrespected the words and the commandments of the Most High, which endangered the entire family, caused men to die, caused our name to stink in the midst of the nations, caused us to lose, caused the Most High to separate himself from us. One man did all this. All right. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran out to the tent, and behold, it was hid in his tent, and the silver under it. And they took them out of the midst of the tent, and brought them unto Joshua, and unto all the children of Israel, and laid them out before Yah. Well, they could lay it out before Yah, because the Most High Yah is right there. He didn't have to die and make himself into three or no nonsense like that. He's always been in the midst of his people. So they laid out before Yah right there. Joshua standing right there, the elder of Israel right there, all the families right there. That way, all the congregation, now notice, this is not everybody. This is God's people, a specific family of people. This is not everyone. So the God of Israel is in the midst of his people, singular possessive, and he's about to deal with them because he gave them his laws. They're supposed to follow it. And when they don't, then they get judgment. So as they deal with this man, all the other families in Israel, because they're dealing with the family of Judah. Now, Judah is the tribe that messed up right here. All the other tribes get to see, and all the other people of this family gets to see exactly how we deal with infractions that's going to cause us to get ourselves killed. If you're going to get us killed, we got to do something to you. We can't allow that to spread, because this man, had he been allowed to get away with this infraction, more than likely would have enticed others to do so. And before you know it, wickedness and evil doing is running rampant in the midst of us. And as that spreads, the Most High withdraw himself, and our troubles then begin to multiply. Hope you're understanding how all of this works. All right. So certainly they found this stuff and they brought it before the Most High. And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his asses, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had. And they brought them unto the valley of Achan. And Joshua said, why hast thou troubled us? It's one man now. One man troubled the whole entire family, the whole entire congregation. One man brought us these problems. Yah shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones and burned them with fire. After they had stoned them with stones, so yeah, we're going to go upside your head with the cinder blocks first, hit you with some stones in your head. After about 3 or 4, you'll probably get numb and it goes dark and you're done. So we're going to deal with you. All Israel got to stomp out wickedness in the midst of us. The problem that we've got now is that we don't have men who are part of the warrior class. We don't have men that's going to say, you know what, this behavior is unacceptable. We're going to deal with you. We can't let this nonsense spread. We can't let this wickedness spread, that it may become encouraged in the midst of us, and then the Most High withdraw himself from us, which means that we're standing there butt naked with no protection, because the Most High is not in the midst of us, because we're allowing unrighteous behavior to multiply in the midst of us. So these are some of the things that we have to tighten up in the midst of our own people and in the midst of ourselves. So they were stoned with stones and they were burnt with fire. And they raised over him a great heap of stones on this day. So Yah turned from the fierceness of his anger. So the Most High, once we did this thing and stomped out this evil, then the Most High returned back onto his people as he was before, because he would not be in the midst of us, because we had the accursed thing in the midst of us. All right. So it says here clearly, wherefore the name of the place was called the Valley of Achan unto this day. So clearly we see where this one man caused the whole house of Israel to be punished. One man. And just like one man can cause the whole house of Israel to be punished, if one man stood up in the gap and speak of the Most High's righteousness and encourage the children of Israel to turn with their whole heart and their whole soul towards the Torah, one man can also encourage others to do that which is right, just as one man can cause us to get our heads busted. So we are to be aware of our responsibility to our own people. You are responsible to the other Israelite that's alongside you, or to the Israelite that's far, and to the Israelite that is near. For your action has a direct effect. It can be positive and it certainly can be adverse upon the entire congregation. So henceforth, as you move, you are to move being cognizant of the fact that my actions affect the entire house of Israel, whether they be far or near. And at no time should you do anything that would bring an adverse effect upon you or your people, or at no time should you do anything that should cause the image and the name of your people to stink in the midst of the earth. We are to raise up our warrior class. We are to blow the trumpet. It is a time of war. And we are to make sure that our people are aware of this, that they may hide in the sanctuary that the Most High has extended to us. And that is his laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. We're to turn to it with our whole heart and with our whole soul. For we will certainly see that all of these nations will be given a chance, and all the people of the earth will be given a chance to turn to who they deem, seem, or believe to be God. and we will see clearly whose words shall stand. The words of our enemies or the words of the Most High Yah. We're already seeing it, but the Most High is going to make himself known to his people. And when he does that, it's going to be ugly. There's going to be many dead when this thing transpires. And your goal is to make sure when this does happen that you are part of the living, because you have taken a hold of the Torah. So blow the trumpets, Israel. Keep your eyes on the current events of what's going on throughout the earth. For, like I've said earlier in this video, 150 days ago, 160 days ago, many people that's in the quote-unquote Middle East at this time could not have fathomed what they're seeing and experiencing at this moment. And do understand, wherever you may live in the diaspora, do understand that your fate can be just as bad, if not worse. Your life, your lifestyle, and your day-to-day goings can change overnight. It doesn't take but 30 minutes for one of these nuclear missiles to move from one continent to the next. And they may even have them faster than that by now. So it doesn't take much. It doesn't take long. Let's not be those who are scrambling, and let's not be fence hoppers. Let's not be straddlers of the fence. Let's choose whom we shall serve, and let's do it with our whole heart and our whole soul. Blessed be the name of Yah, the King, the creator of heaven and earth, and all there is above the heavens and the earth, the fountain of living waters, and the only Savior of the children of Israel and the inhabitants of the earth who are of a contrite spirit. We are to turn, and we're not to wait till tomorrow to do it. Anyhow, Israel, this is lesson number 200. What I will do, I will give a commentary later on. If I don't do it later on this evening, I will do it sometime tomorrow. That way I can kind of keep you abreast on the things that I'm seeing that's taking place both in the Middle East, as well as in the Congo, and as well as what's taking place in Ukraine, as the Most High is beginning to gather these armies, these nations. They're going to war. We're housed within these nations. When they start to fall apart, who do we turn to? Where do we turn? We are in the midst of our enemies. We certainly can't turn to them. So we are to be prepared. Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. And peace to the stranger that will take a hold of the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts, and will do them. Peace, Israel.